TJ Haag is here, and I brought him in. He's the kind of guy that is very motivated. He's very successful. He's an athlete, so he's the kind of guy that you can really gain value from on his kind of point of views, his ideas on things. So, TJ, welcome.
Hey, it's great to be here. I appreciate you having me, Will.
All right,
it's been a long time coming.
So, one of the things I hear all the time, or at least nowadays, is this idea of balance. It's a kind of a hot topic word that people use. And sometimes when I hear people use it, it kind of frustrates me a little bit because I almost feel like they use it as a crutch. They use it almost as an excuse on a reason not to work hard, right? It's, well, do you want to work on Saturday? No, I don't want to work Saturday because I'm trying to have a better balance, So, TJ, I guess I want to know to you, what does that word balance mean? Kind of how do you balance your life, your work, working out? What is balance to you?
Sure. I think that's a tough one, but it's a good one. The word balance, like you said, I think it is commonly used, but it's also commonly misinterpreted or misdefined, if you will. I think most of the time when people say the word balance, they have a negative connotation attached to that. Sure. What I mean is, Will, you work too much. You need more balance.
Right.
Well, you spend too much time in the gym. You need more balance.
Yeah.
And when people say the word balance, what they're really saying is you need to reduce.
Yeah, I agree.
They think it's synonymous with reduction or decrease.
Mm-hmm.
Only losers think like that.
Absolutely.
That's a loser mentality.
Yeah.
Well, when I think of balance, it's like kind of two steps. I see it in two different phases, if you will. First phase is, first of all, what is balance? Balance is an even distribution of excellence or effort or attention, right?
Absolutely.
Even distribution. So the question is, where is your effort being paid forward towards? That's the first step, is understanding what is your effort going towards. And so I would say this: what are your top 5 priorities? And I'll ask the audience, what are your top 5 priorities?
My top 5 would be probably my work, the gym, my family. What else I got for priorities? My friends would be one.
And then and let me pause you. They don't have to be. It doesn't have to be 5.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 2. Maybe it's 6.
I mean, I have 3. I have my professional life, I have my family life, and I have the gym. Those are the 3 things that take up a ton of my time.
Okay.
So those are kind of my 3 priorities currently. A gal doesn't make the top 5 quite yet.
Okay.
But just those 3 for now.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's all about understanding what your priorities are.
Yeah.
My priorities: wife, family, spiritual relationship, finances, and my attention to self-improvement.
Boom.
Those are my top 5.
Boom.
Clear understanding. Anything outside of that, kick it to the curb.
Guys, it's extremely important to know your priorities like that. If you can hammer out your priorities like that, and you can create an intense focus on those priorities. So I think that's awesome, knowing those priorities.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that is, once that is discovered, now you only have to balance between those 3 or those 5 or those 7.
Good point.
Like I said, everything else is kicked to the curb.
Yep.
So that's phase 1, is understanding what is priority in your life.
Yep.
And then putting your attention in those 5 or 6 or whatever it is, priorities.
Absolutely. I agree. I think that kind of, you hear a lot of times people talk about taking self-inventory. Same idea, right? You figure out what is important to me, and I get rid of all the other distraction. I focus all my time and effort towards those things, and if I do that, I'll ultimately have more success. So,
Self-awareness is key.
Self-awareness is huge.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And then I would say maybe the phase 2 or the second half of that balance equation is understanding that these are the 5 pillars, if you will, that support my life. And if I were to put 100% effort into all of those, then I'm going to excel.
Yeah.
But the challenge is, how do I do that without having the other one fall. So what I mean by that, there's only so many hours in the day, right? So
Right.
it's not practical to spend all 24 hours of a day at work.
Right.
It's not practical to spend all 24 hours with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever your priorities are.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the balance is between those 3 to 5.
Yeah.
So getting really clear on what your priorities are, being able to say no to the things that are brought up outside of those pillars
Yep.
is extremely important. I think that's where a lot of people fall off is
That is.
they say yes, yes, yes to everything.
Yep.
And that's the challenge. And I know I'm ranting. I'm going to keep going.
No,
but
keep
this
going. I
this
love
it's it blows my mind how so many people say work's important, finances are important, their family's important, but when it comes time to watch Game of Thrones, they're on the couch for hours.
Dude, absolutely.
And then they're whining why they don't make any money.
I mean, I want to, yeah. That is one thing I want to touch on real quick. The idea of I can't stand when people complain, right? I'm not making enough money. I'm not having enough success. My job's not working out. I didn't get a promotion. They say all these things. They make all these complaints, and then I ask them, well, what are you doing about it, right? What are you doing to further your career? What are you doing to make more money? What are you doing in your free time? And I'll see those same people out at the bar, like you said, freaking watching TV, gaming. It's like, well, if it was so important to you to have that type of success that you complain about constantly, well, then you'd work harder at it, right? And I can't stand complaining. I think it's a cop-out. I think if you truly want something that bad, then you need to put that effort level towards it. That'll get there. And most people just don't do it because they don't want it bad enough.
Yep.
So I agree, man. The complaining thing, it drives me insane.
Yeah. You see it all over the place.
Yeah.
People want X, but they're not willing to do what's necessary.
Yeah, exactly.
People want a great relationship with their spouse,
Yep.
but they're spending 4 nights a week. Gary's out on the softball field 4 times a week.
Yeah, man.
So, I don't know. Balance is defined by everyone, but for me, it's that even distribution of excellence on your top 5 priorities.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think one of the things I kind of caught when you said that is, if you're bringing your work life up to this level and you're going to hammer at that level, well, guess what? The balance then is you need to bring the other pillars up in your life. Okay? You don't have to reduce one just because one's going higher. No, bring them all up. And when you do that, if that's your definition of how you balance is by being great at the same level on everything you value and your priorities, well then overall you're going to have extreme growth. So I really think people need to stop defining balance as like you said, as a reduction in one thing. No, you don't reduce one. You bring it up to be on the level of the other stuff. So
100%.
I think that's awesome. So
yeah, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it just popped in my mind as you're talking about, excellence in this pillar also means excellence in this pillar, and this pillar, and this pillar. The thought came to mind, it's like, you see these really successful people that, let's take like someone like Will Smith or someone, obviously fantastic acting career, family man, motivational speaker, excellence on many, many different levels. And something that's important to point out is that Will Smith was able to solve that equation of success at an early age in acting. That created a blueprint
absolutely
of success that was going to be utilized for the rest of his life. So here's Will Smith unlocking the blueprint of success in acting. All of a sudden, he took that and applied that to his family life and his speaking career and so on and so forth. And that's what it's all about, guys, is as you attack your priorities, and if you're successful, it's going to map across all of your priorities. Absolutely. That blueprint's going to be created, and I think that's exciting.
It is. I mean, I think that really... it's all about it's habits, principles, discipline. When you can create that blueprint, if you will, and you know what principles to live by and what habits to lead or to have. And you can implement that into every aspect of your life. You're going to have success, right? If your principles are based on hard work, being proactive, being disciplined. You're going to have success, whatever you do. If your habits are, I'm lazy as shit and I don't want to work hard and I think 9 to 5, Monday through Friday is the way of life and I look forward to happy hour every fucking Thursday and my weekends are filled with, doing nothing, well, yeah, there's a reason you're not being successful, right? It's no surprise that usually the hardest working people have the most success. It's just not. It's not just by dumb luck that the people who are out there working their ass off on a very they know what their why is. They know what their purpose is, and they're extremely focused on that, right? And they're putting a ton of effort towards that, and that is their priority.
Yep.
It's not by mistake that they're having success. It's being able to say no, like you said. I think one of the hardest things for people is to say no, right? To your friends, to your family, to anybody. To say no, I'm not gonna be able to make it out today. I can't have drinks right now. Because I have a purpose or a why that is more important to me than having drinks with you, right? And that's hard sometimes. Sometimes friends are like, well, TJ, he's always working now, and he's what is he even working towards, or what is, they just don't understand it. Well, if they can't understand it, well, then you shouldn't fucking be hanging out with them anyways, right? They should be able to understand. Like when you say to me, like, you're working a ton, like, I get why, right? Because you have that fire, that burn, that desire to be successful, right? I think if you're hanging out with people who can't understand that, if you're hanging out with people who ask you why you work so much, it's a problem, right?
Yep.
You probably shouldn't be hanging out with those people. They should understand why, because you want it. You want it so bad, and you have such a purpose that you're going after it with everything you have, right? So
let me provide a real life example for these guys.
Yep.
Every morning, if not every other morning, you send me a Snapchat, right? And it's you waking up at 4 a.m. Every now and then, I'll take a screenshot, send that to my group of buddies. What happens? 9 out of 10 of my buddies will say, why the hell is he waking up at 4 a.m.? That's over the top. That's ridiculous. But is it really?
Not to me.
Exactly. So.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think what it kind of brings up a topic that I like. It's the topic of accountability. The reason I send those, when I send those Snapchats or videos of myself getting up at 4 o'clock, it starts to create this element of accountability.
I get it.
And it's self accountability, right? That alarm goes off at 4. The thought crosses my mind: should I hit the snooze button? But then it hits me: no, I gotta get up. I gotta walk the walk. If I'm gonna talk the talk, I better walk the walk. And if I'm creating accountability because I'm telling people about what I'm doing, well, guess what? Now I got to live to it, and that creates that level of accountability. Now I have to get up. Now I have to do what I say I do. So, I think there's an element that's beneficial and advantageous of telling people what you're doing.
Absolutely, it's so easy to let yourself down or create excuses. Hit the snooze. Little 10 extra minutes. I really deserve it. Right. I worked really hard yesterday. I deserve 10 more minutes. Accountability comes in when you're telling all your buddies, or you're on a cadence of sending me Snapchats of you waking up 4 a.m. and one doesn't happen to send at 4 a.m. It's 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Exactly. So I think accountability is huge, especially to yourself. And a lot of stuff boils down to, and what I've learned at least, kind of over my time of learning about self-improvement is how important self-awareness is, and being accountable to self. And really just going internal and figuring out what you're all about, right? I think one of the things for me was I always had this idea of who I wanted to be, who I thought I was, and I'm this driven person. But then when it kind of boils down to it, it's like, well, are my actions delivering what I say I am? And I got to the point where I'm like, oh no, they're not. I say all these things, but I'm not doing them.
Yeah.
So I kind of got to the point where it's like, well, let's go, man. Live up to it. Live up to what you want to become, and write stuff down. I mean, I walk out the door every day. It's basically a personal mission statement. It's right next to my door. When I'm leaving every day, I read it. It says stuff like, go with your gut, or, be accountable, or be your best self, or, just basically affirmations of, and one of them is walk the walk, So these affirmations of who you want to be, I think it's important to write them down, because now, again, it's all about creating that accountability. I see that every day. I'm walking out the door. Well, I better live up to that. One of the accountabilities is don't let yourself down. Exceed your expectation. Yeah. So, I think a lot of it all boils down to self and that accountability piece. So, I'm ranting a little bit. All right.
Oh no, I like it. I like it, man.
What else do we talk about? TJ, TJ, I got to ask you, obviously life's tough and it can beat you down. And, what motivates you? If you could say, one thing that motivates you, whether it's professionally, personally, emotionally, spiritually, what would you say motivates you?
Just one word.
What's that?
Legacy.
Legacy, okay.
Legacy.
I like
It
that.
drives me every single day. I wake up early with a sense of purpose
Yeah.
because I'm not looking to today. I'm not looking tomorrow, a year, 5 years, guys. I'm looking 100 years from now, 500 years from now. Are my actions going to leave an impact in a positive way to this world? For my family, my family's family, the people around me, my friends. And legacy, it means so much to me. It really does. Who's going to be at my funeral? What's going to be said at my funeral?
Yeah.
That's what gets me going. It's not money. It's not fame. It's literally my legacy.
Yeah.
What impact do I have on the world?
That's awesome.
So it's real simple for me. I wake up every morning with that one word in the back of my head.
Legacy, that's good. That's principle 2 of Covey's 7 Principles of Effective People.
Yeah.
It's I think it's begin with the end in mind, basically.
Okay.
And he tees it up as, you're at a funeral, you walk to the front of it, you see all these people weeping, you get to the front and it's you in the casket. And the idea being, on that final day, what do people say about you? Will they say, God, he could have achieved more, or, he just had so much potential and it just didn't happen. Well, you don't want that, right? You want to be the guy that everyone's there saying, man, that guy left it with freaking 0 in the tank. He gave it everything he had. He lived every day with purpose and intent. He had success. He gave back. He was an emphatic listener. Like, you want people to say that about you, but the only way to do that is to start doing that today. You have to live that way. You have to, on a daily basis, live by those principles that you say you are. And it starts today. It starts every second. You walk out the door, you have a random act of kindness to somebody. I mean, there's so many things we could talk about from a ripple effect, but
No, I love how you scaled it back a little bit. You took it from legacy all the way out here and making it about today, because that's essentially what it comes down to: is today, tomorrow, the next day, all adding up to that legacy. And so it's waking up with purpose and understanding that. Let's say I have a goal that's 1 year out. Today is 365th of the opportunity to execute on that goal.
Absolutely.
If I give 50%, I'm going to lose that opportunity. But if I give 100% every single day, sure as shit, I'm going to make that goal in 365 days.
Yep.
And you kind of, you magnify that or multiply that throughout your life. So 1 year goal, 5 year goal, 10-year, all the way out to your life's goal. Gotcha. And it's understanding that on a daily basis. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I think that kind of, another thing I want to touch upon, kind of in that realm is planning or scheduling. This is one thing for me that's really caused me to have a little bit more success than I used to, and it's planning. It's that living with intent, right? Knowing what your purpose is. But that's easy. That's one thing I think people get lost in is it's easy to have an idea of what you want to do, right? Who you say you want to be. Yeah, I'm going to live with intent and I have a purpose, but it's another thing to execute it, right? Execution is where a lot of stuff gets lost, whether that's in a product idea, a service idea, a business. Execution's hard. I think one thing that's helped me is that planning piece. And I plan my weeks out, okay? On Sunday, I have my planning sheet. It lists out my targets for every day, my schedule, what meetings do I have, what tasks do I need to get done, what appointments I need to make, etc. And I plan out my entire week. So walking in on Monday, I know, all right, it's Monday, these are my targets today, and I have every hour of that day planned. Every minute of that day, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I execute on that plan. And that has allowed me, guys, to create exponential amounts of growth for my businesses, personally. It frees up time, and it's all about discipline. You have to have the discipline to follow that schedule, and I think that's one thing people lose is when it's 11 to 1 and it's sales time. If that's my sales block, well, guess what? I'm in the conference room and I'm making my sales calls. Okay, it's not it's 11, but Jerry down there wants to go get a bagel in the cafeteria, so I'll go with him and then come back. Again, you say no to that shit. I'm in the conference room. It's my sales time. So, what do you do any planning on a weekly, daily basis?
Yep. Same exact approach. Same exact approach, guys. Structure is going to keep you on track. There's no secret behind that. It's not for everyone, though. I understand that being able to sit down, write out a plan, and execute on it is not for everyone, but I can confidently say and firmly say that that's what keeps me going and keeps me on track is that structure. And it's getting clear on that end result, guys, getting that goal in mind, and then reverse engineering it, if you will.
Absolutely.
Understanding the steps that it's going to take to get there.
Yep.
Giving 100% effort.
And it honestly, when you talk about like goal attainment, it actually is pretty simple when you really boil it down. Okay, I set a goal, right? I set a wildly obtainable goal, or not a wildly obtainable, a wildly important goal. Okay, I wanna put on 15 pounds of muscle by X, right? Say it's by the end of the year. So I want to put on 15 pounds of muscle by.
Don't need to overdo it, big boy.
By December 31st of 2017. Okay, that's my goal. What lead measures do I need to put in place in order to get to that weight, to that goal? Well, I'm going to need to go to the gym X amount of days a week for X amount of time. Okay, I'm going to need to have a diet where I consume X amount of calories. Okay, and
understanding the macros that go into the calories, getting micro with it.
But I'd say the nutrition piece and the effort piece in the gym, those are really the only two lead measures. So if I'm disciplined enough to go after and push those lead measures, ultimately come the 31st, I'm probably going to hit my goal. So basically, it's setting a goal, putting in place the action steps that need to take place, and then just executing on them on a daily basis with discipline. If you do those steps, usually you'll reach any goal you're going after. So I think people complicate things too much, or they aren't going after a goal with any direction or structure. It's really important, like you said, to reverse engineer, figure out where I want to get to and how am I going to get there, and create that action plan or that roadmap of getting there. And then on a daily basis, you live by that action plan, and you're disciplined enough to follow it. Ultimately, when you get to the end, you're probably going to be at your goal. So I just think, I think reverse engineering on a goal is extremely important. But it always boils down to discipline.
Yeah.
I think people are so damn undisciplined, it drives me nuts. And shit, I mean, I'm not, it happens to me too sometimes. But I think being self-aware of, in that moment, saying to yourself, be disciplined.
Right.
You're not supposed to do that. Do what you're supposed to do. Discipline's freedom. Jocko Willink said.
Yeah, I like it. I think to add a couple of cents to that conversation, I think a lot of people have the effort. I think there's a disconnect. There's obviously the people that are lazy and they don't execute or move, but there's also the people that are trying and they're putting forth the effort, but they're not getting anywhere. And there's a reason behind it. It's because they didn't take the initial steps of understanding what it takes to get there. So the effort is there, and let's stay on the gym analogy.
Yeah.
When I first started working out, I would go to the gym and I had all the effort and energy in the world. Yeah. I'm just going to go to the gym, I'm going to work harder than everyone, and I'm going to spend 4 hours in the gym because everyone else is spending an hour.
Right.
So if I put forth more effort, I'm going to get better results.
Right.
But I didn't take the time to become a student of the game before I started playing the game.
Sure.
I just started trying.
Yeah.
And I was putting forth 4 hours of effort in the gym, only to find out that is counterproductive of building muscle and producing the physique that I want.
Sure.
So it's understanding, guys, what it takes to get there. And I know I'm pulling from polar opposites right now, but you're not always going to know that path. You might have a good idea, and if you don't, that's okay. I would suggest these few things. Find out who has achieved that already. Role modeling.
Sure.
Don't get me started on role modeling. We'll go for another hour. But role modeling, guys, you find an individual that has already achieved what you want, and you role model them. You mimic them. You copy exactly what they're doing from a mindset perspective as well as their actions, and you try and imitate that to the best of your abilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super important. Super, super important to put yourself in that kind of a mindset. That's going to help you stay on path. And then secondly, just start. just start, but measure.
Absolutely.
Measurement. Starting is one thing, but again, I started in the gym, and I had the effort, and I was going this way when I should have been going this way.
Yeah.
So it's measuring whether or not you are making the progress, the strides.
Yeah. I agree.
So-
I completely agree. I think there's so many things we can talk about in that regard, but which way to go? Yeah, I agree. I think there's a good point there on effectiveness. I think too many people get into the office every day and they're going as hard as they can all day for 10 hours. They're busy as shit. They get done with it. I just had a great busy day. Well, it's like, well, guess what? You just spent 10 hours doing tasks that really didn't create any value for yourself, right? You need to get into the office and find out what are the top priorities that I can do on a daily basis that get me to where I'm trying to go, whether it's personal growth, professional growth, anything. Prioritizing the items that I can do today and put my full focus on that'll give me growth. And you only focus on those, right? You can get to filing papers or just tasks that really don't matter later, right? You should be focused on the most important things first, and that's effective. That's the definition of being effective, right? There's a difference between being effective and efficiently getting through 1,000 things that really don't matter, okay? And that comes down to prioritization. So if I'm going to the gym and I know that really for me to add mass, I should be heavy deadlifting or I should be doing heavy bench. Those are the things that I'm going to hit first. I can hit kind of the other stuff maybe down the road, but I think really knowing what your priorities are and putting a ton of effort towards those is extremely important. I do this all the time. I'll find myself doing a task that's taking up way too much time, and I'll take a step back and I'll say, is this really gonna get my business to the next level where it wants to go? Ultimately, no, it's not. Why have I spent 2 hours building this spreadsheet on how to track where my trailers are when I should be either marketing for new drivers or putting a ton of effort towards sales? Right? I should be delegating this spreadsheet work.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think we get lost sometimes in just, I don't want to call them meaningless tasks, but sometimes they are.
Yeah, just the minutia of the day.
Yeah.
And that goes back to being able to say no to certain things and certain
Absolutely.
people.
Yeah.
Get distracted.
I agree. So, all right. So one thing I do want to talk about real quick is something that I truly, firmly believe in, and that's mindset. I preach to my brother on mindset constantly. I feel like mindset is one of the most powerful things in life. Your ability to reframe certain situations, the way you think about certain situations, I truly believe is what separates really successful people from just average people. Because that's how do you deal with failure, right? Some people will see a failure and that will be it for them. They'll never step back to the plate again, right? That failure ruins them. Or there's the other people who fail, but then immediately are able to reframe that, right? Find the positives, the silver lining, if you will. What do I learn from this situation? I truly believe that if you fail in anything, and if you immediately are able to reframe and figure out what you learned from it, it no longer is a failure, okay? Because you've learned from it, you've grown from it, and you step back up the next time, and you're better for it. I hear this term sometimes. It's fail better, right? Failing better is every time I fail, I'm a little stronger for it, right? And I keep coming to the plate. I think there's a lot of people who they fail once and they're done. So, what's your thoughts on mindset? I know you played college soccer, obviously, so there's a ton of battling through, being persistent and perseverance and battling through injury, and that's all mindset, right? It's that mind over matter. I guess, what does mindset mean to you, both professionally, personally, basically anything?
Yeah. So when I hear the word mindset, I like to use a better term or terms, and that's just internal communication. being able to recognize the thoughts and the words that you're communicating to yourself internally,
Sure.
and then turning that into actions. Because I truly think that that dialogue that's going on inside is going to dictate every single action throughout your day.
100%.
You can peel it back to several different layers, whether it's self-esteem, confidence, all these different aspects of that communication process.
Yeah.
But it does boil down to what's the quality of your what's the quality of your internal communication?
Yeah.
Because there's a direct reflection of the quality of your external actions.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. No, I love it.
That's how I picture it. And so to dig a little bit deeper into that, it's the constant checks and balances of that dialogue, making sure that you're constantly communicating the right words, whether it's motivation, whether it's positivity, whether it's just telling yourself that you love yourself.
Absolutely.
Looking in the mirror and saying, I love you.
Yep.
You're badass, man. Keep going. You're killing it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that. I honestly don't think enough people do that.
I don't think so either. I think affirmation is huge. I think your internal thoughts, like you said, are really what drive your external actions, right? You hear Tony Robbins talk all the time. I don't know who likes Tony Robbins or not, but
who doesn't?
Exactly.
Come on, who doesn't?
He talks a lot about priming his state, right? So he primes the state in the morning. That's the first thing he does, whether it's through his breathing exercises. My brother thinks I'm crazy for this, but I'll do like a 30-second cold shower.
Yeah.
It's priming that state of mind for the day. If I'm going to start my day with a positive mindset, and there's exercises too where you're going through your own mind, you're thinking of things you're grateful for. Okay. When you're being grateful for something or somebody, it's impossible to be negative, right? So we're priming the state of mind in the morning. Then you move forward with your day.
Yep.
Now I have a state of mind that's positive.
I love it.
Now when I sit down to do a journal session, or I'm planning my day, or I need to think through something strategically, I'm thinking through it in a positive way. I'm more likely to find the answer if I have a positive state of mind than if I just feel like shit and I have a negative state of mind. So I truly believe that mindset or state of mind or just being internal is extremely important for success. In that, I know some people think it's bullshit. All I don't know if you ever read Think and Grow Rich.
I have. Yep.
Okay. So this idea of even as a man thinketh, it's an essay.
Is that Napoleon?
Yeah, Napoleon Hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this idea that if you think something, right, and you visualize something, having those thoughts in your mind are going to lead to actions towards that goal, right?
Yeah.
And it's basically, it's thinking it's going to happen before it happens. And more than likely, it'll lead you towards actions that'll get you there.
Yep. Your thoughts and that communication is going to manifest.
Absolutely.
Whether it's negative, if it's negative, it's going to manifest.
Absolutely.
If it's positive, it's going to turn out to be that way.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. The negative piece can manifest into negativity as well.
Yep. It's a constant audit internally, constantly auditing. And you know what? For most people, it's a muscle. Some people are just blessed with great internal communication. Yep. Their parents bless them with high self-esteem and confidence, always praise them. It's just natural to them.
Sure.
But for the far majority of us, it's a muscle that has to be trained every single day.
I completely agree.
And it's not just practicing it, but it's also getting information from other people. So it's it's getting positivity from having conversations like this with you, or the people watching. Hopefully this can help strengthen that mindset, or whether it is listening to people like Tony Robbins or Les Brown or Gary Vaynerchuk, all these guys that they have it up here. They have that mental muscle that is like, it's the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the mental muscle, and that doesn't happen overnight, again, unless you're blessed with it, which very few people are. So you got to work on it.
Yeah, you definitely got to work on it. I think, like you said, as you grow stronger mentally, I think those are the things that help you when things are going bad, right? Your business is tanking, right? Just something's not going right, or your relationship's just really struggling right now. That course of action you've taken over the period of time allows you to get yourself through those times, right? You're staying positive on it. Your actions and your habits and your principles are going to allow you to pull through because of what you've been doing for the last, however long to build that self-strength, that self-awareness. So I think so. On a daily basis, you absolutely should be focusing on state of mind in a positive standpoint. And like TJ said, I mean, the negative side of it's just as strong. The mind is a crazy thing, man. If you think negatively constantly, well, guess what? You're probably not going to have much success.
Can I actually, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No,
I think it's super important because you say the negative manifests itself too, but it's actually at a faster rate.
Yeah.
One positive thought, or let me say it, one negative thought has the same weight as like 10 positive thoughts. Those negative thoughts, guys, will eat you and kick your ass to the ground.
Absolutely.
If you let one of those negative things come in, you have to guard your mind constantly. That one negative thing is going to really mess your stuff up. So when you feel that thing knocking on the door, keep that door shut. Only positive things come in because it'll take 10 more positive thoughts to even get even with that negative.
Absolutely. So, you gotta, and again, a common theme through all this is that self-awareness, is knowing when that negative thought's coming in, right? And being aware, like, oh, no. We're not going down that road. We're going to bump it back over here.
Yep.
So,
that self-esteem, self-confidence, and we don't need to keep beating a dead horse here, but practical, real-life example or scenario. If you're in the gym, you probably get, let's say 10 guys come up to you and be like, damn, dude, your biceps are huge, your chest is huge, whatever. 10 compliments makes you feel great. One guy will come up to you and say, ooh, your calves are looking a little small, buddy.
Yep.
That is going to fester in your mind for months. Months. So again,
my buddy Nick Johnson used to do that to me, like, on purpose. Like, he knew he'd come up and be like, looking a little smaller. And you're just like, oh. So no, I agree. The negative prods are always much stronger than the positive ones. So, but I think that means that's even more important to really keep that positive state of mind. And it really helped down the road. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching us here today and listening. I guess we're going to leave this with one thing. I'd ask TJ, if you could ask the audience, TJ, what would be kind of one question you would ask them?
My question for you guys is, what are your top 3 or your top 5 priorities? And what are you going to do to maximize your effort in each one of those areas? That's my question for you guys.
Boom. All right, guys. Make sure you leave your answers to that question in the comments below. And, we'd love to see the feedback. So, TJ, thank you so much.
You bet.
Guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.